The world's most prestigious motorcycle racing championship, MotoGP, is on the brink of a seismic shift that could forever alter the foundation of this sport. Liberty Media, the American media giant that revolutionized Formula One, has now set its sights on MotoGP, and their decisions are already sparking outrage among fans and experts alike. What's going on? Is this the end of the MotoGP we know and love? Stick around, because this story is packed with drama, intrigue, and big questions about the future of motorcycle racing. Make sure you read to the end and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's dive into the heart of the issue: Liberty Media's plan to overhaul the MotoGP paddock structure. For those unfamiliar, the paddock is the beating heart of every race weekend. It's where teams, riders, and crews from all categories, MotoGP, Moto2, Moto3, and Moto E, come together, share their passion, and create the dynamic atmosphere that defines MotoGP. Right now, the paddock is an inclusive space that celebrates every level of motorcycle racing, from young talents in Moto3 to superstars in MotoGP. But, according to reliable sources, Liberty Media has big plans for 2026 to completely separate the MotoGP paddock from the other categories. Yes, you heard that right. Liberty Media wants to make MotoGP an exclusive entity detached from Moto2, Moto3, and Moto E. The goal, they say, is to elevate MotoGP's prestige, turning it into a singular, ultra-glamorous focal point, much like what they've done with Formula One. But here's the big problem. This move could alienate the grassroots community that makes MotoGP so special. Fans, riders, and smaller teams are worried that splitting the paddock will erode the spirit of unity that has been the backbone of this sport for decades. To understand why this is so controversial, let's look back. Over a decade ago, there was a similar attempt to separate the MotoGP paddock from the other categories. The result? An absolute disaster. The MotoGP paddock felt lifeless, lacking the vibrant energy that comes from interactions between young riders and veterans. Smaller teams in Moto2 and Moto3 struggled to attract sponsors and media attention, while emerging talents lost opportunities to shine on the big stage. Fans felt the impact too. The race weekend atmosphere felt hollow, and the sense of community that was once so strong began to fade. Ultimately, that decision was reversed, and the unified paddock brought life back to the sport. Now, Liberty Media seems intent on repeating history, and many believe they haven't learned from past mistakes. One of MotoGP's greatest strengths is its cooperative spirit. Unlike Formula One, with its rigid hierarchy between F1, F2, and F3, MotoGP celebrates all its categories equally. A championship title in Moto3 or Moto2 is considered just as prestigious in the motorcycle racing community, and riders from lower classes often become MotoGP's future stars. Names like Marc Marquez and Valentino Rossi started their careers in the smaller classes, and their interactions with the broader paddock helped shape their legendary status. But with Liberty Media's plan, this spirit could be at risk. Imagine a MotoGP paddock filled only with big-budget teams and flashy sponsors, while Moto2, Moto3, and Moto E are forced to operate in separate locations, far from the spotlight. This isn't just about logistics, it's about culture. MotoGP isn't just about racing, it's about the motorcycle racing family, the stories of young riders dreaming big, and the fans who celebrate every moment, from small victories in Moto3 to epic duels in MotoGP. If the paddock is split, will we lose the essence that makes MotoGP so special? Now let's talk about Liberty Media itself. For those who don't know, Liberty Media is the force behind Formula One's commercial success since they took over in 2017. They elevated F1 to new heights with aggressive marketing, glamorous events, and a focus on entertainment. But their approach has also drawn criticism. Many F1 fans feel the sport has become too commercialized, losing its technical and competitive roots to appeal to a casual audience. Now, with Liberty Media taking over MotoGP, many fear a similar formula will be applied, and not everyone agrees this is a good thing. In Formula One, Liberty Media successfully boosted the sport's commercial value by attracting major sponsors and expanding its global fan base. But MotoGP is a different beast. MotoGP fans take pride in the sport's authenticity, with its focus on rider skill and pure wheel-to-wheel racing. Many worry that Liberty Media will try to transform MotoGP into something more like F1, more glamorous, more elitist, and perhaps less authentic. For example, there are rumours that Liberty Media wants to introduce more sprint races or new entertainment-focused formats to attract a broader audience. But is this what MotoGP really needs? Experts have also weighed in. A former MotoGP rider, now a commentator, recently said in an interview that separating the paddock is a huge step backward. According to him, the interaction between riders from different categories is part of MotoGP's DNA. You see Moto3 riders learning from MotoGP stars, and that creates a bond money can't buy, he said. Meanwhile, a Moto2 team manager warned that smaller teams would suffer the most if the paddock is split, as they rely on shared exposure to attract sponsors. So what can we learn from all this? First, history shows that separating the paddock is a bad idea. Past attempts failed because they diminished the sense of community and hurt the smaller categories. Second, MotoGP has a unique identity, and fans love it for what it is. Liberty Media needs to listen to the voices of fans and stakeholders to ensure their changes don't erase the sport's legacy. Third, while there's potential for benefits from this acquisition, like more investment and global exposure, there's a real risk that MotoGP could lose what makes it special. Looking ahead, what might the future hold? According to sources, Liberty Media plans to start implementing changes in the 2026 season. Beyond the paddock split, there's talk of introducing more night races, expanding the race calendar, and even altering the qualifying format to make it more exciting. But the big question is, will these changes be embraced by the MotoGP community, or will they spark more outrage and resistance? One thing is certain, MotoGP fans won't stay silent. This community is known for its vocal passion and deep dedication to the sport. If Liberty Media wants to succeed, they must balance their commercial ambitions with respect for MotoGP's traditions and culture. This is no easy task. Transforming a sport without losing its soul requires sensitivity and a deep understanding of what makes MotoGP so special. Let's take another lesson from history. When Dorna Sports, MotoGP's previous owners, introduced Moto-E as an electric racing category, many fans were initially skeptical. But Dorna successfully integrated Moto-E into the paddock in a way that enriched the racing experience without sacrificing MotoGP's identity. Liberty Media could learn from this approach. Innovation is good, but it must be done carefully to avoid disrupting the existing balance. Now, it's time to hear from you, the fans. What do you think about Liberty Media's plan to separate the paddock? Are you worried that MotoGP will lose its soul? Or are you optimistic that these changes could take the sport to the next level? Are we witnessing the birth of an exciting new era? Or are we on the verge of losing something truly special? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because we want to hear your voice. And if you agree that MotoGP should stay true to its roots, give this a thumbs up and share it with your fellow motorcycle racing fans.